All right, boys, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to another week, week 7, Sunny Days Media Football Show. Facino, you'll start us out. Your Jags are they're in London, they're across the pond, and they're winning, and you don't want them to win. You want that draft position. So you're not feeling super great right now.
It's on its way to a blowout right now, too.
Oh, yeah.
How bad does Drake May look? I have not.
He's looked awesome.
I've not seen anything.
The Jaguars make every quarterback look like it's their fucking like they're ready to go to the Hall of Fame. But luckily they're actually playing really well on offense and special teams. So that's one thing, there's always a few games where no matter how good you are, you're gonna win it or you're gonna lose it based off the special teams play. And this is one of those games where they just scored a kick return touchdown. So but they're oh my god. They just came back from from halftime, and they're already doing Jaguars things.
Nice little drop.
You want the number 1 pick when you're 1-5, but then you win this game, and then you're like, all right, they're 2-5, and then you win another game, and you're 3-5. The issue with these bad teams is that the head coaching is the biggest problem. Like if you can't consistently win, then the coaching has to go, and the GM has to go because obviously it's a talent issue and a coaching issue, and they have both those problems. And when you win games like this and you let these guys like stay around for another week or two, it just soaks into the team. And I hate to see that stuff. I want to see the team get better eventually, and it doesn't seem like the coaching staff's going to be gone anytime soon when they win like this. So
speaking of dumb coaching, not NFL related, but I don't know if you guys were watching any of the Texas Georgia game.
No,
I did watch a good part.
Arch Manning is on your sideline. You refuse to go to him. He comes in, scores a touchdown, and they go right back to Quinn Ewers. I can't for the life of me understand.
So they went to him. I got a notification on my phone. It said at 20-0, Georgia was winning. They went to they went to Arch. Arch scored a touchdown, and then they went right back to Quinn Ewers.
And they went right back to Quinn Ewers.
What the fuck is that?
No injury.
That's a play. If I'm Arch Manning and that happens, I will be like, no, I'm not playing. I'm like, you can fucking rock.
No, you can't do that. You cannot do
that. You can.
He's
you can with the NIL.
No, he's taking a lot of money with the NIL. He can't do that. If he does that,
but
he's got to give the money back. It's just
he doesn't need the money.
I don't understand. I think some of these, especially the offensive-minded head coaches, a lot of them just like overthink what they're doing, and they talk about like their system and at some point it's a talent issue. Like Quinn Ewers is clearly nowhere near as talented as Arch Manning, and I don't know, just really stupid. Facino is like walking around here in the background. Steve Sarkisian. I wanted to start out with the breaking news. Jets and Hassan Reddick agreed to terms.
Oh, well, it's not so much breaking anymore, but 2 big stories coming out this week.
That's my buddy Todd. Shout out to my buddy Todd down in North Carolina.
What's up, Todd? What's up, Will? What's up, Larry? What's the other breaking news? Amari getting traded to the Bills?
No, Devontae.
I thought we went over
really
it. Did we go over that last week?
No, we didn't.
We went over it. I wasn't on the show.
Sorry, guys. Every week my laptop dies, and I just called it early.
Nice.
So now my laptop is charging.
We're
in business.
For such a brilliant man, Facino.
I never charge anything. Everything just is always dying.
Wild. Facino, where are we on the Hassan Reddick extension? Is this an extension so they could trade him, or it's an extension so he's going to play and he's not getting traded?
I think he's going to play, and I think that it's a shame that it takes the Jets so long when you're in this win now window to just you finally got your team here right before Halloween, where you're 2-4. It's like it just nothing can be done properly. It's such a shame, man. It really is a shame. Like if you really put it together, like they built a team that could win. They refused to get Devontae. They refused to meet Reddick's contract, that he wanted. Why trade for him in the first place? Now you're 2-4 and you're bringing in the band together.
The only thing I'll give the Jets here is I don't think it was so much on the Jets. I think a lot of it was the Raiders. The Raiders were setting an absurd price for Devontae Adams, and the Jets smartly were not going to pay that. I mean, from
not
what
to
I heard,
mention that with
it was
that,
a first and something else, which is crazy.
They had to pay him $1 million each week that he wasn't playing, regardless. So The Jets were kind of letting them. That's no skin off the. No, we're talking Hassan Reddick. Oh, no, I thought we were talking Devontae. You said the Raiders.
Yeah, we're talking Devontae.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so the Raiders had to pay Devontae Adams $1 million each week he didn't play, regardless, because that's what his salary is, because he wasn't like holding out. He was hurt, so he was still collecting. And that's free money that the Jets didn't have to shell out. So the longer they waited, the longer or I don't want to call it a cap hit, but the longer Mark Davis had to go into his pockets for, the less Woody does. And that drove kind of the price down, where I'm sure Mark Davis is like, all right, you know what? Let's just get this guy the hell out of here. Not to mention, we kind of fleeced him. You know, I know that everyone's talking shit about Devontae Adams. I have Devontae Adams on one of my fantasy teams. This guy is consistently a 20-point receiver week in and week out, and now he's back with his boy. Like, I just took. I'm in the kitchen right. I'm in the lab right now, cooking up a parlay for tonight's game, and his just went up. His receiving line was 55. It just went up to 59, but it was 55, which is absurdly low. And I just think that, like, I don't know. I feel like people are really sleeping on Devontae Adams. I do think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But I want to speak to Hassan Reddick for a second, if that's cool. If we can rewind. Going back to last week, you know, the Jets defense has always been, you know, death taxes and the Jets having a serviceable defense. I'm not going to say lights out, but I'm going to say serviceable. The Jets, as far as my fandom has gone, they've always had a pretty solid defense. And last week made me it infuriated me because they couldn't catch a cold. They couldn't do anything in the flats. They couldn't. They were getting run all over. Everybody was always open. It was like watching the Coastal Carolina game I watched yesterday. It was abysmal. And I think that is what kind of ended. I think that happened, and I think that was the tipping point for Hassan Reddick to come in, because I think that's kind of where he's going to specialize with stuff in the middle. You know, he's a solid linebacker. Again, he's kind of a piece of shit for doing what he did, just going eat, pray, love out in Japan and watching anime and doing weird nerd shit. But whatever. We got him. We'll see if it plays out. I don't think he's playing today, right? He's not going to be playing today?
He's reporting Monday.
Okay, so we'll have him next week. We'll see what it does. But I do have hope that this is going to be somewhat of a difference maker on that side of the ball, where we kind of need help. Our defense hasn't looked that good as of late, and it's been hurting my soul. So hopefully this gets us back up to par.
The whole thing with Hassan Reddick, it was kind of mutually beneficial for both sides to sign this. Obviously, the Jets are in a win-now state where they need all the help they can get, and they need all this talent. They need as much talent as they can get. And Hassan Reddick, he didn't report by, what was it, week 10? This year is doesn't count towards his contract, so he would have to repeat this last year of his contract again next year. So it was kind of, both sides need to get this done, and it's good for both sides. Obviously, it's like, it's a weird situation where he's now coming in what was this, week 7, and he won't even be there until week 8 at the earliest. So it's a weird situation, but I think it benefits both sides, obviously. And the Jets just needed to make some moves. They needed to get help around Aaron Rodgers. They needed to help this defense out to fill some holes, and hopefully these two moves can do it. And I mean, it's moves that should have been done much sooner than now, but I guess better late than never, right?
That's exactly it, Bass. It's mutually beneficial. The Jets needed help, and like, if you're Hassan Reddick, you can only sit out for so long until you lose any credit on this year, and you have to play next year under that same deal. So, as much as Joe Douglas has botched a lot of this, I mean, I understand the Reddick situation, and it's good that you could say too little, too late, but you're only 2-4. There's plenty of season left. You win tonight. Are they playing at? I think they're playing at MetLife.
No, they're in Pittsburgh.
No, they're in
Pittsburgh.
They're in Pittsburgh. So you win in Pittsburgh. Like, now you're 3-4. You got a new pass rusher. You got a new wide receiver. I think you're feeling pretty good. And I'm going to show you how. Yeah, go ahead.
This stems back to when you need money, you can use draft picks to acquire money. They could have acquired $7 million, and they could have drafted Brock Bowers. So they could have drafted a better player, and they could have basically had their draft class paid for by cutting Tyler Conklin. I don't care if he had a decent game against the Patriots 3 weeks ago. The guy's slow, can't block. and he's doing nothing for your offense. So you lost out on money there. And then what you did is you restructured him in the meantime. So now you have dead money next year. So now you run into the same issue where it's like, oh, well, they couldn't have Devontae and they couldn't be 4-2 because they didn't want to pay the $5 million. And they don't have the $5 million because they were emotional about the draft pick and didn't take the better player. And now they don't have a tight end and they don't have a tackle and they don't have Devontae. And then they traded a pick that's a conditional pick for Reddick. So then they locked up the 2026 second and third round pick. So they have less trade ammo now for a potential D tackle. And it just snowballs and snowballs and snowballs. Who's the problem? The GM. Look, this is the 1 year where you were all in. I do not care about a pick. You could have traded a second round pick conditional to a first, because if you make the Super Bowl, who cares about that first round pick? Nobody. So if it's a conditional first in July to get him here, that's a way better trade than the trade today. And I don't care what people say when they make a trade. I care about how the team can
Adams
perform.
trade or the Hassan Reddick trade?
The Reddick trade is horrible because they locked up those two picks. Now they also aren't allowed to trade into the NFC because if you were to trade that player, you have to give up a second round pick. So it's not a third round pick if you trade him to 16 other teams.
All that would mean,
can't do that trade.
All that would mean is that who's ever trading for Reddick now has to give up a second round pick, and
nobody's going to do that.
No one's going to do that because the guy hasn't played. You have no idea what you're getting. He's an idiot.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade. He's a mental case. It's like trading for Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
What contract was he asking for that got this all locked up? I mean,
he
how
wanted
much money was
25 a year, and they probably could have came in at 22 to 23, and he probably would have accepted.
What did they agree at? What was the terms? What's the money?
I don't know. I
didn't see it. It was short term. I think it was only a year contract. I think it was just kind of to get him back on the field.
It's just the bottom line is it's pathetic, and they never got him in the building, and they told him you can come negotiate with us. It's like, yeah, you did have the leverage in New York, but you also don't have time. So I get that now Devontae. This is going to be another 2-year, window with Rodgers. You probably have next year too, but
yeah, I think so.
You're throwing this year. You threw this year almost down the drain, and now you have to be perfect. And even if you're perfect, you don't have a home playoff game. So now you have to go to Buffalo, go to Baltimore, go to Kansas City. You're going to win those games. Maybe you win one. You're going to go win a championship game in Kansas City. No, not with that defensive line. So it's just like over and over again, they've shit the bed, and it's hard to watch and even talk about the team when they do something right because they do the right thing and you're not even happy
even
about
if they
it.
signed Reddick early, it's still the same defensive line, like that you'd be going into Baltimore and Kansas City with. So if you believe that Rodgers is good enough to get you there and good enough to win, then okay, well now you've got your pass rusher. So ultimately. And Facino, I agree with you on everything that you say in terms of the front office of the Jets, especially the coaching of the Jets as well. But like first and foremost, if the New York Jets want to win football games, one really important thing needs to stop happening. Your quarterback that's supposed to take you there has to stop turning the ball over. You're never going to win in this league if you turn the ball. What do you mean, no?
I don't think he's turned the ball over too much. It could be a lot worse.
5 picks.
London, he turned the ball over 3 times. Two of them, or one of them was a pick 6. Last week against the Bills, turns the ball over again. You cannot keep turning the ball over and expect.
Let's get one thing straight really fast. That interception was not his fault.
Mike Williams,
he ran the wrong route. He slipped in the field. That was not Rodgers' fault. That was a great ball. If Mike Williams is in the right place, that ball is caught. It's 1st and 10 on the 35, and we are scoring, and we are winning that football game.
If Mike Williams had the time to overrun it and slip and fall on his ass, that means you probably could have put it a little further out where either Mike was getting it or no defensive back was getting it.
Well, no, if he puts it a little bit further out, if you look, the safety's coming over the top. If he throws it further out there,
he's from the opposite side. If you throw, if he would have thrown to the out of bounds,
sideline,
it's either going sideline or it's going in Mike Williams' hands.
You can't sit here and tell me this guy doesn't still have it after throwing 300 two TDs, I believe it was yesterday or last week rather. He can play when he needs to play. I have full faith in that. Does he look like it was in 2015? No, he doesn't. He's not winning an MVP, but he could still play ball, and he's going to be able to ball out now. He's got his boy here. The excuses are gone. I'm an Aaron Rodgers guy, and I will be an Aaron Rodgers guy until he's no longer in green and white. And I can't really blame him because he's taking accountability. Everyone wants to say he's doing this, he's doing that. I don't think he is. But that loss last week does not fall on Aaron Rodgers. It falls on the lack of discipline. Again, there's that fucking word again. Too many flags. You can call it a ref show if you want. It wasn't Rodgers' fault. That we need to stop taking penalties. We gave up 120 yards worth of penalties. Have to score and then some. And then on top of that, we need to be better on defense, and that's it.
The defense needed to be better last week.
That's it. No. That's
you
literally
you didn't lose last week because of Rodgers. You lost because your defense gave up in the end. Yeah. I think your defense needs to have a better game. But facts are facts. You want to win in this league, you can't keep turning the ball over.
You're not wrong.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Rodgers has no more excuses. We all agree. Your boy is here, and maybe this week it won't look great because Devontae's been in the building for a handful of days, and then they had to travel to Pittsburgh. So it's not going to look, for the Jet fans that think it's going to look really clean and it's going to look like vintage Rodgers to Adams, probably not this week. I think you got to give him another week or two in the building.
I agree with that.
At practice, but going forward here, the excuses are limiting. They're starting to limit out, right? Robert Salah is out, right? Robert Salah is out. Your best friend, the guy that you were having a sleepover with, is now playing on your team, and you're throwing passes to him. So let's see what Aaron can do here. Aaron's got a lot to prove, and I agree that I think Rodgers is now definitely coming back next year because I don't think Devontae would have wanted to come. I mean, these guys clearly talk. I don't think Devontae would have came here for 10 weeks of an NFL season.
Well, how much longer is his contract? Is he under contract next year?
He's got another 2 years, but I think it's easier to get out of the contract after this year or next. But I can't imagine Devontae Adams is just coming here for 10 weeks. That I highly doubt.
You're getting him back. You get a new contract taken care of this year. So the Jets, what they should do is restructure the contract today and get him another year with the Jets and map that out for Rodgers last year because he's probably playing one more year.
Right. Keep in mind,
they won't do that though. They won't do that.
You're bringing in a new head coach. At the end of the season, you're bringing in a new head coach, and
but it's not necessarily going to be a new head coach. It'll probably be someone with experience. You can't. There's no way they're bringing.
No. I meant someone that's not currently in the building.
Should bring in Mike McCarthy.
Honestly, try to bring in Bill Belichick. Honestly, if anything.
I don't think he didn't.
Really I want Vrabel.
He got Mike McCarthy fired in Green Bay.
I like
Vrabel. No way Mike McCarthy's coming. Mike Vrabel's good. Bill Belichick obviously be a slam dunk.
It makes no sense for McCarthy to come, but it also in a weird way
you don't want him.
He got Mike McCarthy fired in Green Bay.
Head coach.
I don't know if we were.
Yeah, I mean that's been what it is. After what I've seen the media do to Rodgers since he's been a Jet, I kind of don't believe that McCarthy story. I don't think it was him. I think that it was just him being a stale coach and his time kind of running its course.
I think regardless of all of this, whether Aaron Rodgers got him fired or if he just kind of ran his course there or whatever, he's not a good coach. Look what he's done with the Cowboys. I mean, this is an offense that should be putting up, averaging 25 plus points a game, and they're fucking falling flat on their face because he's just. What?
No. That just reminded me of fucking asshole Chris Christie's comments this week. I don't know if did you guys see this?
No.
What did he say?
So Chris Christie was on Chris Russo's, show on fucking Sirius XM. And I guess Christie's a Cowboys fan, and they were asking him about what he thought of last week. And he was like, yeah, that's just classic Dan Campbell. He's classless. This is the type of stuff he does.
What?
In what world is this? This is the NFL.
What did he do?
Because he ran up the score.
Fun with it.
They were having fun and throwing to offensive limemen.
Yeah, stop it.
Do you not understand what happened last year and why they were so mad? And this is the NFL. We're concerned about guys' feelings now. I don't know. Last I checked, nobody felt bad when they were blowing us out 3-4 years ago. So
yeah, I'd agree with that.
Why do we have to feel bad because we ran up the score? Let me tell you, anybody in the NFL that gets a shot at the Cowboys and gets to walk into Dallas and run up the score on Jerry Jones's birthday, you better believe they're gonna do that. Especially
with Hutchinson.
Especially with Hutchinson going out and after what happened last year, losing that game on a bullshit blown call. Absolutely. And I think I forgot who said it to me, but it was worded very well. First half was for the Cowboys. Second half was for the refs. Absolutely. You run up that fucking score. This is the NFL. There's no fucking points for sportsmanship and being a nice guy. All these guys are contracted, paid to play this game, and we're going to feel bad because your $60 million a year quarterback couldn't complete a fucking pass. That's your problem, buddy, not mine.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. Most overrated contract right now, probably in American sports. Hard to find another one.
Yeah, that was a terrible contract. Fuck, they were thinking doing that.
So stupid. Okay. We got a. You know what? Let's start with an oddball here. Unless do the Giants play today?
They play the Eagles.
They play the Eagles.
Guys,
Is that at 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock.
Yes.
Let's start it.
Start it with that.
I'm hammering the Eagles here reluctantly.
It's a weird game. I mean, the Eagles just have not looked good this year. They've not looked
That
good.
and they
Defense
always
is
play
terrible.
bad. They play the Giants bad.
I kind of want to see
They
the
do.
Giants win today.
I mean,
just to
what's
see
the
Sirianni
spread at?
get fired post game?
3. The spread's 3.
The spread's 3, and it's in
Yeah.
Philly, right?
No,
No. It's here.
it's at MetLife.
Later in the. It's at MetLife. Okay. I mean, this
Giants
is a
are
game
135 on the money line.
plus 135. I mean, Vegas has no faith in Philly, clearly, and I see no reason why they should. Last week, you have both your receivers come back, and you play like shit again last week. And I know they won, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts got paid all this money to basically just look like a shell of what he was in his second year. And Sirianni's got to be one of the worst coaches in the NFL. I mean,
But
once he lost his 2
two
coordinators, it's been terrible.
Is it Jalen Hurts or is it that joke of a head coach barking at the fans? I know it's been talked about a lot. I don't want to kill a dead horse, but that is weird energy, brother, to be barking at your own fans and then go up to the podium after you just shaved your head and your kid sitting on your lap. What the fuck was that? Who does that shit? That is was that Britney Spears 2006? When was that meant to break down? That's what that looked like to me.
Yeah, like 2000s.
What the fuck is up? Why are you the last head coach I saw bring his kids to the
He's
podium
out
was
of his
Jim
fucking
Caldwell
mind.
the day before he got fired in Detroit.
The dude's out of his mind. I mean, he knows that it's just about over. I mean, and he doesn't know how to coach the team. And like you said, is it him or is it Jalen Hurts? It's got to be a combination of both of them, because there's no way this team can look this flat, especially with how Saquon Barkley's looked this year. You know, how he's looked running behind that offensive line. I know that they've had A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith hurt for some time, but Jesus Christ, it's just seems like they can get nothing going downfield.
It's amazing what losing Jason Kelsey in that offense could do to you. And you would never think a center.
And has Lane Johnson been hurt this year? The right tackle? So. I know he got hurt earlier in the year. I don't know. Yeah, he definitely hasn't. He's been out a couple of games, but the Eagles just don't look good. I have no confidence. And this is a game I wouldn't touch because this is going to be a gross game, turnovers left and right. It could be a game that goes way over because of both the Eagles defense is terrible, and then the Eagles offense also can put up points. Or it could be a game that's way under because both teams are going to turn the ball over left and right. It's just not one that I'm excited to watch. I'll pay attention to it on my phone, but I have no faith either way.
I will have that game on here. My brother's an Eagles fan, so we'll probably have the YouTube quad box, where I could have the Eagles on one side, the Lions on the other. I have to make sure that the Lions are not going to be that they're not going to be on Fox over here. What is that? Is the Eagles game a Fox game? Eagles Giants is
probably
99.9%.
I don't know if that's going to be nationally televised.
Well, when are the Rams playing? Are the Rams playing?
Nothing at one is national, but I just have to make sure that it's not going to be a regional game here.
It ain't going to be the regional game.
He doesn't have
fucking
cable.
Arizona.
Oh,
That's what
that's the worst.
I'm trying
do you have anything else on that there, Zach? Eagles Giants?
No. Just that I'm not excited to watch this game.
I have my eyes on another game here for selfish reasons. Vegas Rams. So they're playing in LA.
Is that the 4 game?
I think it's a 4 o'clock. It's got to be a 4 o'clock game. Yeah.
At 4:25.
It's a 4:05 game. First of all, probably going to be a lot more Raiders fans than Rams fans. I'm not even going to say probably. Definitely. You're playing in LA. The Rams are -7, and Vegas money line's at 290. The over/unders at 43.5. I know it's a pipe dream, but I'm still going to hold on to the pipe dream. Vegas keeps losing. Maybe somehow Mark Davis agrees to trade away Max Crosby, and I'm really hoping we could be the recipient of that. And I know it's a pipe dream, and it's probably not going to happen. The more likely scenario is that maybe we trade for 2 other starters. But if you're Detroit, you watch Aiden Hutchinson snap his leg like that. That's your entire defense. Like, and I fully support what Dan Campbell came out and said, that like we believe in our guys, we believe in who's here, and that's all the stuff. That's all the stuff a head coach is supposed to say. Yeah. And I'd be the same way, right? And he's not in charge of trades. That's Brad Holmes. That's the general manager. It's the front office. But you cannot be realistic with yourself and expect to go to a Super Bowl without that guy. Aiden Hutchinson was half of the team pressures. Aiden Hutchinson had 7.5 sacks. The rest of the team has 7.5 sacks. You cannot subtract that guy from your defense and just think to yourself, "Oh, we could still win without him." You can't. The defense was good, really good with him. It's probably going to be a below average defense without him. When that much production is coming from one guy, you need to find a way to replace that production. And good defensive coordinators can find ways of manufacturing pressure, other ways, sending corners, sending linebackers, stunting your defensive line, and I get that, but you need to do something, and we would all love that something to be Max Crosby. I know that that's a pipe dream. More realistically, like I said, if they could find a way to trade for
Frankenstein something.
Hendrickson, Harold Landry, something like that.
Harold Landry makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Harold Landry makes a lot of sense.
It does.
I like, you get the best option. I mean, obviously Max Crosby would be the best option, and honestly, I don't see any reason the Raiders wouldn't want to trade him. Miles Garrett too. He's another great option, but I think the Browns are a little bit closer to being a legit team than the Raiders. The Raiders have so many holes. There's no reason for them not to consider trading Max Crosby. You can ask for the world because you're in the driver's seat. There's no reason for you to trade him. He's got a big contract. He's going to be there. You could just be like, we're going to hold him unless you give us 3 first-round picks. They're in the driver's seat. But I don't see why they wouldn't entertain it because they have so many holes. Aside from him, who's their next best player? Brock Bowers, and he's a fucking rookie. Like, what are you doing? Like, you may look at what they did a couple years, or 6 years ago when they traded Khalil Mack as a mistake, when they traded him to the Bears. This isn't that. I mean, Max Crosby is your team. He is the face of the franchise, but you have so many holes. And if you decide to hold on to him here, you will not win with him here. He will retire never winning with the Raiders. It's nearly impossible.
The issue is what you get back, though. What if you get back 2 first rounds for Max Crosby? It's not like you're making that trade with the Panthers. You're making that trade with the team that's definitely getting to a championship.
One, you're in the driver's seat. You got to ask for more. You're asking for, you're probably asking for at least 2, and then probably
a couple
second, a third. Yeah. You might even just straight up ask for 3 once.
And I have a lot of my Lions buddies that are telling me, well, you have to think about getting rid of that draft capital, and every other year I would say, yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't want to give that up, but the Lions are in a position of win now, more than win now. Like they're literally championship or bust here. You can't look at next year because you have no idea what next year is. Next year, you don't know if your offensive coordinator is going to be here. You don't know if your defensive coordinator is going to be here. How many teams go into training camp and your number 1 receiver blows his knee out, and there you go. That's like, there are so many bad things that could happen in an NFL season. Nothing is guaranteed next year. What I know is what I've got this year, and what I've got this year is good enough to win a Super Bowl if you've got the pass rush.
Well, what about the fact that Max Crosby, you still have Hutchinson on a rookie deal, so like you could.
It lines up that you could pay the rest of Crosby. You could pay the rest of Crosby and then extend Hutchinson on the end. Yeah, absolutely.
And you get him for a few years together at least. I would try to extend Crosby too. Keep him as long as you can. You guys great.
No, he's the top 3 defensive defensive lineman in the league. So
they'd have the best edge rushers ever if they had both those guys healthy next year.
And they'd be a top 5 defense. I mean, It'd be incredible. It might take a little bit more time for Aiden Hutchinson to get back up to speed and back into football shape with the broken leg, but there's no reason to think he can't get back.
They're already saying if they're in the Super Bowl, he'll be back.
That's awesome.
Which is insane to say that here, but
I wouldn't even. I don't know. I guess though, when you they're probably going to put a titanium rod in his leg. I guess that's not going to be.
I think it's already
broken again.
Yeah, I think
not. Hopefully not.
Probably comes back a little stronger. It's like Nick Chubb. It's like every time Nick Chubb gets hurt, it's like it's over. No, he just gets stronger.
The whole thing with
better today.
Nah, the whole thing with the Lions too. Even if they can't go out and get a star pass rusher, they can Frankenstein something. Like they can get a Harold Landry. They can get someone like I brought this up to Matt, Azeez Ojulari. Trey Hendrickson's good from the Bengals. Honestly, if they're getting Trey Hendrickson, that's probably the only person they need. But if you're going for Harold Landry, you could use him on earlier downs, and yes, he can rush the passer, but he's great in run defense. And then Azeez Ojulari, someone with a ton of burst off the line, they can get him on a runway. That's he can run free and get hits on the quarterback and pressures. And they don't necessarily need to find all this production from one person. They can get a couple people and piece something together to at least get what you got from Aiden Hutchinson. In terms of at least statistically. Yeah. Will it be the same thing? No, but it will be better than what you have right now.
Absolutely. If they can't hit the home run and bring in a Myles Garrett or a Max Crosby, if you could find a way to just bring in two like good starting caliber defensive ends, you could absolutely, like you said, you could Frankenstein, you could put it together. Something else I'm looking at here, I believe this is a 1 o'clock. I could be wrong. Texans at Packers. Packers are -3. Was it a 4 o'clock game?
No, it's a 1.
It's a 1. Texans, Packers are home, -3. Texans are 135 on the money line. This is going to be a very interesting game.
Hammer the over.
What's it at? 51?
Over is at 40.
48.
Wow. I think that'd be a 51. Jeez, I would take the over there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be a fun game. You got two young quarterbacks, both look awesome. You got some young receivers that look good, and maybe not subpar defenses, but not the best defenses here that are going to really be able to shut anything down that these quarterbacks can do. It's going to be a lot of fun this game.
Who do you have?
Yeah, I think so. I'm debating. I think I'm going to watch Red Zone, but I was strongly debating having this game on my TV. Either this or the Lions Vikings. I think both of those games are going to be really good ones.
Agreed. Matt, honestly, it's tough. It's a toss-up between the two. It's tough to pick one. I think I lean Packers. Just because I think they have more weapons that they can utilize. The Mixon's old, banged up, and Nico Collins is obviously down. Still love Tank Dell. Stephon Diggs has been good. But the weapons that the Packers have, I think, trump what the Texans have currently with Nico Collins out.
I think this is just a home team game. I would if I'm betting on this game, I would bet on who's ever home. Packers are home. Obviously, I'd so much rather see the Texans win. That would help the Lions out tremendously. But Packers are good. Jordan Love looked. I think he looked good last week. They won last week, right?
Yeah.
Am I bugging?
Yes, they did. No, they won.
So, and I feel like both teams don't really play like outstanding defense. So
that's what I'm saying. Hammer the over here.
Yeah.
48's a low number for not that good of a defensive matchup with a lot of offensive juggernauts here. That's why I love the over in this game.
I agree.
Yeah, over's a good bet here.
Panthers, Commanders. That's
another fun game.
9.5
over.
Commanders are 9-1, 9.5. Panthers money lines +400. The over/under is at 51.5. 9.5 is a steep spread to
take the Panthers. Take the spread.
If on the spread, I'm not touching this game, but on the spread, I like
is
that.
Is Bryce Young going to play, or
a lot
of
points for Andy Dalton?
I'm
pretty sure it's Andy Dalton. Bryce Young has been the practice squad quarterback, and he apparently did a great job of replicating Jaden Daniels. So good for him, I guess. But
what else are they going to say? He looked like shit in practice.
That's a disaster. That's another disaster of a situation. Like
they've fucked that whole thing up. They've
are they just not playing him because they want to trade him at the deadline? But like, who are you going to trade him to? That's going to give
the Rams, maybe.
For what it's worth, I think he might be kind of okay if he goes to a competent franchise. He's not a bad quarterback. You don't just lose your skill set. You went to literally the worst team in the NFL. Literally the worst team in the NFL.
But what has he done? He hasn't shown that he has the great arm talent to, drive the ball downfield like CJ Stroud, like Anthony Richardson, like these other quarterbacks. He hasn't shown the ability to handle pressure and pick up pass rushes and kind of have that feel in the pocket. He's done nothing well. I just think this is another. Now Josh Rosen was picked later in the first round, but I think this is another Josh Rosen situation where they need to move on and cut bait. It's done. It's done. You try to trade him. If not, you just let him rot, for lack of a better term. And it sucks that you don't want to have that happen to the number 1 overall pick. But the NFL, you do not have time to let these guys develop. Look where the Giants are right now. They're at year 7 of Daniel Jones. You can't fucking do that. That helps no one. And the Panthers, if they try to keep working it out with Bryce Young, year over year, it's just going to end up like the Giants have now, where they're in a shitty situation where their team is good enough around the quarterback to win a few games, but not bad enough to get a top draft pick. So they can't get a top quarterback, and you're just in fucking limbo. So it's a situation where they just need to.
How many times did the top quarterback drafted actually pan out to be the best quarterback in that draft anyway? Pat Mahomes was the first round pick, but he wasn't Drake. He was what, 11?
Deshaun Watson was the first. Oh no, Drake May was.
No, that was
Lamar
Jackson.
Drake May. Mitchell Trubisky.
Lamar Jackson's the number 1, number 2 quarterback in this league, and he was drafted at the back of the first round.
Yeah, but look at all those quarterbacks in that first round. The only one that's not still in the league is Josh Rosen, and every single one of them is a starter and looking good this year at a minimum. Baker Mayfield revived his career in Tampa Bay. Josh Allen is a perennial MVP vote getter. Lamar Jackson is an MVP. Sam Darnold's reviving his career. The thing is you have to take that shot every chance you get. You know what I mean? All the top 3 quarterbacks look good this year. They've looked good. Drake May's looked good in this game, last game. Jaden Daniels looked awesome. Caleb Williams is definitely growing a ton. Even Bo Nix is looking good. So it's one of these things where if you do not show you have it by the middle of year 2, gone. Bye-bye.
Bo Nix looking good might be a little bit of a strong state, but he's looked okay. He's getting the job.
He's holding his own.
He's looked better than Bryce Young. He's looked better than Bryce Young.
Yes, without a doubt. But
so,
look at the coaching difference too. I mean, Bryce Young's on his second head coach. Bo Nix is playing under Sean Payton, and I think PFT said it best. He's basically just doing everything that he did with Taysom Hill down in New Orleans. But he's doing it with a guy that can actually throw the ball well. I shouldn't say throw the ball well, but throw the ball better.
Has the arm
than Taysom Hill. So,
but that's my point with Bryce Young here, though, is that it's just he walked into a garbage fire, and I guess listen, I forgot who said it, but someone brought up what's his name from the 49ers, that failed experiment. That's a completely different. If you walk into Mike, no. Trey Lance, yeah.
Trey Lance.
If you walk into Mike Shanahan's system and you can't excel, that's on you. You are a bad football player. If you walk into the Carolina Panthers locker room and just have all of that shitstorm going on, bonehead owner, just the second coming of Dan Schneider, you don't have a reliable coach, your system's all fucked. Andy Dalton's the guy you're looking up to, which isn't a bad veteran leadership, but you have no weapon. They're trading away your weapons. They sent DJ Moore to Chicago. You literally have nothing around you. Your biggest weapon is Chuba Hubbard and Adam Thielen was you have him too, I guess, but you have Adam Thielen was well past his prime. You have nothing going on to help your cause. I'm not confident in saying that I think Bryce Young would benefit from being elsewhere, but I think he can't look any worse. I think he'll still be employed. I know he's small. I know he doesn't fit the bill, but I think he has a chance. I think he deserves redemption.
I don't think it should be it for him, but he can't do it there. And if I was the Panthers, you cannot put any more eggs in that basket. That you got to move on from him. Maybe he can excel elsewhere, but he cannot succeed there. It's over for them. So that marriage is over. Maybe he can work out somewhere else where he can get some better weapons, get into a better coached and managed organization. But the Panthers, it'll be mutually beneficial for both sides. Just to move on.
What's the compensation though that you're going to
third round pick?
I think a third round.
A little bit better than what Trey Lance got. Trey Lance got what, fifth round pick?
I'm not saying it's a reason to not make that trade, but I can only imagine. I think he'd be less than a 3rd round pick. I'll be honest with you.
I think
you
he's
see
a
him.
3rd round pick.
I think you see him getting traded for a day 3 pick. I'll be honest with you.
Now, what are they gonna? Are they gonna dump him and try to lose the rest of their games and maybe go get Shedeur? I mean, they have their
Why?
first
So they could fail him too?
No,
And
they
if it's
have.
a big
Here's
situation,
the thing, though. They have
They're gonna be
Deontay
terrible.
Johnson, and they drafted Leggett, and they have pieces. So with a real quarterback, they have a chance. It's the
I wouldn't
problem
know
that
if
they
Shedeur
don't
is
a real
have.
quarterback.
I'm sorry. Drake, that that Bryce Young is not making it. Shedeur Sanders is a way bigger bodied guy. He steps into throws. He's not afraid to get smoked. That he's able to do it with no offensive line. So you could bring that guy in and know that you have a better shot. Right now, you have nothing, but you also have the aura and the mantra and like the will to want to be great that Shedeur has, whether people like him or don't like him.
You also have a lot of off the field issues.
Off the field issues.
I don't know if it's off the field. It's more personality.
No.
He's not going to go drink on the weekends.
No,
he's not going to do the stuff that you really don't want him to do.
But like,
he might talk online.
Yeah, right. And like when you're walking into a locker room full of like 30-year-old men with like 2 kids and a wife at home, they're not going to respond the same that Colorado locker room does. That whole Rolex shit, that's not going to fly. That doesn't fly in the NFL. Guys don't like that. That puts you on a fucking wanted poster. Guys want to kill you for that shit. So it's just the truth. It's true. How many of those guys?
It's not funny, but it's funny.
How many of those guys came into the NFL and actually like panned out and it looked the same that it did? It doesn't.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker had to go to 3 other teams to finally end.
Oh my God.
Baker was not doing what Shedeur Sanders is doing.
Yeah.
Baker got hyped up, but he wasn't driving around campus in a Lambo and flashing a Rolex to the crowd. Like
he's just a big personality.
He's a big personality. Yeah, it's okay. Being a big personality is very okay. Like when you're winning and that's all okay. But I think it's how you're doing it. I think it's what you're doing. You know, the whole I guess grabbing his crotch against Texas, like, okay, that was inappropriate, but a lot of guys can get behind that. A lot of guys can get fired up. That's your rival. You know, the Rolex thing is weird. That's weird to me. Driving around campus in a Lambo, kind of weird.
Sick, dude. You got that. That's the definition of daddy's money. When your father's one of the best NFL. There's that too. He's definitely getting his own, but when your father's one of the best NFL players to ever step on a field, like it's sick, dude. You have a rich father, and you got his genes. Good for you, but you're a shithead. I do agree with that, but I don't know. I don't think it's gonna pan out. I think he's a product. We talked about it a couple weeks ago about how the college system is failing these quarterbacks because it's so different in the NIL and all that stuff, and it's just. Like you said,
well, it's no longer about development. It's
Correct.
No longer about building.
And that's
a program.
what I think he's going to suffer from. It's a little different with him because Dion kind of put his foot in the sand there, and like that's his program for now at least. But I think he's going to fall victim to exactly what you said a couple weeks ago about that whole quarterback situation. That's just me though.
What else do you guys like on the slate?
I did realize one thing though about. Let's just get into the Browns.
Finish it out, and then we'll do.
I just with the college game. I never get the quarterbacks right, but I always get the like the weird guys like that I like that people say they can't throw, the short intermediate game well. It's just the hash marks have to be moved to a pro style offense for us to, if you really want to be able to evaluate the quarterbacks the right way, because with the hash marks the way they are in college, it makes such a big huge difference, and nobody really talks about it. But I mean, you can't throw the out route. When you're on the opposite side of the hash.
I want to say that was Andrew Luck's quote, and I could totally be wrong here. I could be botching this. So anybody in the comments that knows I'm wrong, please shout out who it was. I want to say it was Andrew Luck when he was asked the biggest difference between the NFL and college and what that jump was like, and that was what he said. He said the hash marks. It completely changes how you run your offense. It completely changes what you want to run where. He goes, the hash marks, being where they are so centered to the field in college, it really allows you to be very creative with these offenses. You could do a lot more. When the hash mark is set a little further out there, it limits you when you're on one side of the – it kind of makes you commit to one side. Whereas,
you throw a screen pass in college, the guy's got all the space in the world. The quarterback's on an actual island,
Right.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Pacino? Bengals Browns?
No, we got to talk about Nick Chubb. I'm happy, man. I'm excited for this guy, man. He's such a
definitely
good
playing
dude.
today?
He's back.
He's playing. Good for him. What do they
Just
give him a
loved
snap?
Cleveland.
They give him any limitations? Any type of snap count?
I don't think so.
No. I can't imagine
sure,
he'll get a
What's the
full.
point
Yeah,
there?
he's
That's
not-
the only
He's
thing
not
you
getting
got
30
going for you.
carries today.
No, yeah, he's not getting 30 carries, but hopefully he'll get 10 carries, 5-10 carries.
Maybe 20. Who knows? You never
Browns
know.
are-
This guy, I mean, he's different. He's just built differently than anybody in the world. So
They're home dogs. They're plus 210 today. Bengals are minus 5.5 in Cleveland. That's kind
So
of
I
wild.
like the Bengals here.
Cleveland's just so bad. Deshaun
Yeah,
Watson
I-
is the
I-
worst
I think-
I
quarterback.
don't think Cleveland's that bad. I think Deshaun Watson's that bad.
Yeah,
I
but
think
when
the
your
Cleveland
quarterback
defense
is that bad, well, the Cleveland defense is solid. But when your quarterback's that bad, you can't do shit. And you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
traded
yeah.
your best receiver.
Yeah.
I guess that's better. He won't be throwing the ball too much. He'll have
Jerry,
to go to a run
you
game.
had
Yeah,
you
keep
had
it on the
started
ground.
a thought there, Jerry.
Yeah, so I like the Bengals here, and I want to take them on my parlay. But also, Burrow doesn't play the Browns very well. I think he's like
No.
1-5 against them career,
Really.
something like that. So that's making me a little reluctant. And like we've been saying, Nick Chubb is back. They're going to be up for him. That's going to be that's important. But a lot of people are leaning towards the Bengals, and I understand why. I'm just a little, I don't know. Lot of in-conference matchups this week that I want to bet on, but I'm also a little reluctant to do so because, it's anything goes when you're playing divisional ball.
Yeah. Divisional games are tough to bet on.
What do you like, the Bengals money line or?
Bengals money. I wouldn't. That spread's too high. Cleveland has a pretty decent defense that I wouldn't touch. Right. I want to ask you guys to give me a little hand here. So right now, what I'm looking at is I like the Indianapolis Colts to beat the Dolphins. I like the Falcons to beat the Seahawks. I like the Bengals to beat the Browns. I like the Eagles to beat the Giants. And then I like the over in the Green Bay Texans game. But I'm going to buy that over down to like 44 just to, little insurance. I don't like those. I never take an over under at its like listing price.
Yeah, it's face value.
Part of me would like to say I think the Giants maybe beat the Eagles today.
A lot of people are saying that too.
I feel
This is why
kind of
I wanted to
crazy
throw it out
saying
there.
that, but I think the Eagles are just a hot mess.
I
But
wouldn't
also
have
at the same
touched that.
time, on the other end of that spectrum, I think we see Saquon Barkley go off today. And I think Sirianni is going to develop the scheme around that, knowing what the deal is. A lot of eyes are going to be on that. But also on the other end of the ball, Malik Neighbors is playing today. And when Malik Neighbors is out there, he likes to make magic happen. So it can honestly go either way. This
And
is
the
a game,
Giants-
though, that the Giants are poised to win, just to shoot themselves in the foot. That's it.
Yeah.
The Giants have a good rush defense too. I mean, I think Saquon Barkley is going to do everything. He's going to do everything in his power to make the Giants eat their words and make them, make them regret not re-signing him.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, you have Dexter Lawrence, who's the best defensive tackle in all of football. You have, Brian Burns. You have a good, front seven. So it's going to be tough. And especially with, the offensive line of the Eagles not being as good as it has been in the past. It's going to be tough for him to get.
I don't know if Barkley was being if he was being like
Get
sarcastic,
things going.
but the quote from him that was like, "It's in the past. I don't really think Giants fans care anymore. Like, I don't think I'll get booed, brother. You are getting booed. You're getting booed. You're walking into MetLife wearing fucking that shitty ass green. Yeah, I think you're probably getting booed.
You're getting booed, bro.
Yeah. Do you not know Giants fans?
They
Oh.
have to boo him, but it's not
course.
it's not their fault. It's the
No.
GM. He's an idiot.
Yeah.
Who? With
Shane?
Eagles?
Gene.
Oh, Joe Shane? Yeah.
Where's
But-
the money going? Like, come on.
Not in the right place. Not in
Chiefs
the
and
right
San
place.
Fran's going to be very interesting as well.
I think it's going to be a
Last
good
game,
game,
too.
too.
I think I'd take San Fran. Money line, spread, whatever. I think this is the day where the Chiefs shit the bed. I think the Chiefs are going to get their asses handed to them today.
I don't think so.
The Chiefs have skated by in every fucking game this year.
Yeah,
this
they've
is
been
the first. This is the best team they're playing. Well, second best to the Ravens, and the Ravens look shit at the beginning of the year. But yeah, the Niners are going to shut them down. I see no reason they're going to go nuclear on
the
that
Niners
defense.
have been like very hot and cold all year. Have not committed to being a good team. They have turnovers. Yeah. Their defenses look suspect.
The Niners know how to run through that Kansas City. They'll be able to run through the Kansas City defense. They have the outside zone. Chris Jones will be mitigated.
And you're talking about this is like a 4:00 game, right? This is the 4:00. Yeah, it's got to be.
4:25.
4:25. 4:25 game. And you're forgetting about the effect of the officials. Like, it's still Pat Mahomes on the other side. They're still going to wipe his ass for him.
And he's thrown 6 picks in 6 games.
Would not be surprised if Mahomes throws a pick today and somehow it's overturned due to a penalty.
Oh yeah.
There is no one in the history of
guarantee.
It's a shame because like Mahomes seems like a really good dude, and like a lot of fun watching him progress from where he started at, like holding a clipboard in Kansas City, to Alex Smith. But there is no one in the history of the NFL that's had more turned over picks than him. I mean, just for context, I think Tom Brady in his entire career had 16 of them given back due to flag. And I think since like the middle of last year, he's had 16. Like I forgot what that number was, but it's something absurd. Since last season, he's had that same amount. That's insane.
He has more than Tom Brady, yeah.
That's insane.
And people used to think Brady got the calls.
Yeah.
That's why, like, you know what? Mahomes, dude, just blow him up. Just blow him up, dude. Whoever can get to the quarterback, just blow him up.
There's about a 0.
We've beat enough for the Chiefs.
The Chiefs can't continue to win games like they have. They're 5-0, but Mahomes has thrown 6 picks in the first 5 games. He has not looked good. That offense does not look good. You know, they don't have a receiver outside of Travis Kelce, who is nowhere near what he once was. And their running game is hinging on a Kareem Hunt, who's in the latter half of his career and hasn't been a starter for, 4 years?
Yeah, but Kareem looks good, dude. Kareem looks real good.
He looks good in the first game back. He looks good in the first game back, coming back to the NFL. Now they got tape on him. I can't imagine that the 49ers allow this offense to move on them. With how bad Mahomes has looked, with the lack of weapons on that offense, yes, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, and they're always going to be good. They're always going to make things competitive. But I just can't imagine Kyle Shanahan and that 49ers team allowing them to do what they've done and squeak by, especially when you play as poorly as the Chiefs have. Because let's call a spade a spade. The Chiefs have played like shit. They've gotten bailed out late in games by the refs and by the other teams. The Chiefs do not look good right now. We'll see what happens after the bye, but I do not.
Zach, you for a second there, you sounded like the Jesse Pinkman meme that he can't keep getting away with this.
In all fairness, a couple of the picks that have gotten overturned have been legitimate penalties, but also it's like at some point it's like
I've never ever seen a quarterback get that many.
No. It's been a lot.
In my life. The amount of times in Detroit I've seen a free safety full on rip a receiver to the ground and pick off Matt Stafford and just nothing. No overturn, no review, nothing. Oh my God.
Do the Patriots look like shit? I think they maybe had 5 minutes of possession time in the second half. It is just disgraceful.
The Jaguars have, I think that's 21 straight runs.
17 I saw. They were just at 16 and they just ran another one, yeah.
Boys,
Crazy.
We are coming up on 1 hour. We're coming up on 1 hour. Do we have anything else here?
I have one thing that I just want to bring up. Irrelevant to everything, but it was something that was just brought to my attention a couple days ago that I totally forgot about. Going back to the Jets here. Yeah, because all roads lead to MetLife. We have something kind of waiting in the wing that I think a lot of people, including myself, forgot about. And I think it's going to have us in decent shape for years to come, depending on how it works out. People forget. We drafted Jordan Travis in the 5th round of the NFL draft last year. And Jordan Travis is a hell of a quarterback. So I know everyone's always saying it's this, it's that, it's win now, it's whatever. If this guy comes back healthy, sits behind Rodgers for the remainder of this year and next year and learns the ways, we're going to be sitting okay.
Jordan Love 2.0.
I was kind of, I mean, yeah, for what it's worth, I was kind of, down. I was talking to a guy at work who's also a Jet fan. I was down in the dumps. I'm like, it's kind of, this is it. Like, this is all we have. Like, we're not even going to have, we're going to be mediocre. We're not going to get a quarterback, blah, blah, blah. He's like, we have this kid waiting in the wings for his shot, and he's going to be good. So if you ever get down yourself, Jet fan, just know the future has potential to be very, very bright as long as he can come back healthy. It was a gruesome leg injury, but we'll see what happens.
Jordan Travis, I would just say, I don't know. I don't know how to say this. I don't want to shit on the parade. The only thing I'll say about Jordan Travis, he had a great season last year, but the guy was also in the ACC. He didn't really compete against anyone that difficult. And unfortunately for him, he came out of Florida State. And now, I mean, you could definitely talk about the difference he made being like the fact that he's not there. And look at what this team looks like now.
Yeah.
Although they did have a lot of graduating or guys moving on from last season.
Keon Coleman.
I think that's the only thing I'd be weary of. Like, it's not like you're talking about a guy that like ran shit at Alabama playing against the SEC and just happened to blow his knee out. Like, this guy was blowing out teams like Navy and.
But those are the guys that don't work out. Those Bama guys. You know what I'm saying?
No, but like. I guess, but then for every one of those, there's a Georgia Matt Stafford or an LSU Joe Burrow who now
I feel like those are few and far between, dude. The big blue chippers. Mm-hmm. I feel like they don't always pan out because they go from being the guy to getting their shit kicked in by 35-year-olds.
Joe Namath cursed the Jets and he cursed the Alabama quarterbacks.
Yeah, but when those blue chippers do pay off, they pay off. Look at CJ Stroud. I mean,
yeah, they do.
They do. It's when they pay off in dividends. You know what I mean? So it's
I think we do like to like look back at like crazy stories of guys that went to a small school and came up, but like for every one of those, there's 25 that did not make it. That did not make it, and so it's I agree with you that it's something to look forward to. But I don't know if that's going to be their plan. I don't know if Jordan Travis is like I would imagine he was probably drafted there to be Rodgers' backup and maybe compete for the starting role, like you said, in 2 years. But in all likelihood, I don't know. Is he able to play right now or no? Like is he?
No, he's on the
non-football. I IR'd him for the year.
Yes.
So
okay.
He has 2 years behind Rodgers, and that's exactly what they did with Jordan Love. And I think I think that's the most beneficial thing today
is not throwing a guy into the fire. Is letting him sit back and learn the NFL game for a couple of years.
Yes,
he deserves a chance.
Depends.
I don't know. Someone told me that the other day, and I got like beyond excited. And I just totally forgot about it.
You definitely could be. All right, boys. I gotta go to the little boys' room. I think I'm tapped out here. Do we have anything else?
Nope. Let's get some watch.
All I gotta say is let's go Mets and fuck Vegas for fucking on my parlay.
Yeah.
Fucking, I had 4 legs hit. I had 4 legs hit in the first half, and then Demario Douglas somehow exits after half with an illness. Not even hurt, an illness. So
let's fucking go.